massive electronic appliances kind of side to it as well, but what I'm going to focus on here is the video games, and in particular the Bethesda and PlayStation or Sony conferences, because they're the two which interest me the most personally. There were also an EA, Ubisoft and Microsoft and Nintendo one, which were all pretty good, and there were some good announcements there, but personally the more interesting ones I think came from Bethesda and Sony, in particular Sony. So I'm just going to talk about these, and if you have any comments, please leave them below. If there's anything you think I miss which I should check out, then please let me know. And I'm possibly planning on doing something like this maybe once a month, just to talk about kind of the video games, and maybe like a quick review or something like that. Just a kind of podcast style like this, as well, just to kind of mix up the content on my channel a little bit. So first off, I want to talk about the Bethesda conference. Bethesda are one of my favourite publishers just ever. They make fantastic games. They're responsible for the Elder Scrolls series and the Fallout series, as well as Doom, Wolfenstein, Dishonored as well. So really they make really good games basically. Now this year they showed off a few interesting trailers and things like that. There wasn't too much of a shock. A lot of it was rumoured beforehand, but it's still exciting to get a lot of things confirmed. So first off, probably the big announcement for me anyway was a Skyrim Special Edition. Now it looks like it's just going to be a kind of a Skyrim port in the Fallout 4 engine, but that's not a bad thing. Fallout 4 looks great. I don't know if they're going to add more content to it. I hope they will, but my thoughts are that they probably won't, because they're also going to allow mods on console as well, in the same way they've done with Fallout 4. So it would seem to me that by doing that they kind of alleviate themselves of having to actually create any more quests or armour or weapons or things like that for the game, which is fair enough. They've got other things to focus on than a 5-year-old game, like hopefully the Elder Scrolls 6, whatever that will be. Yeah, so it looks great. It's going to be free for people on PC who own the original Skyrim, but people with an Xbox One or PlayStation 4 will have to pay for it, which kind of sucks for them, but is kind of understandable really, because on PC you can of course mod Skyrim, and it already looks fantastic when you mod it, and it changes the gameplay and everything like that. So I don't think they would sell many on PC if they put it on full price, but on console, a lot of people who just perhaps play consoles probably haven't touched Skyrim in 3-4 years, so it'll be, I guess, good for them to jump back into it. It is an amazing game. There's no doubt about that. It's strange to meet anybody who has a bad word to say about the game. Sure, it's not perfect, it has some faults, but as an experience of playing it, it's a fantastic game. I would personally have liked to seen that they were perhaps going to remaster Morrowind or Oblivion first, but I understand they've got to kind of make a business decision on this, and Skyrim is still a well-known kind of game, so, and beloved game, so whereas perhaps Morrowind isn't so well known to the kind of console generation, because I don't believe it ever came out on console, did it? I don't think so, no. Oblivion did though. That was an Xbox 360. I would to say launch title, if not launched, then very close to it. So I think that could have resonated with people to have redone Oblivion, but that would probably be a lot more work, and I'm sure they've got other things to work on, such as Fallout 4 DLC. So they announced some more Fallout 4 DLC, which is always good in my book. There's going to be 3 new pieces, and they're all coming out relatively soon actually. The Skyrim Special Edition, I believe, is coming out in October, so a little way off yet. But for Fallout 4, you've got a DLC I think next week coming out, which is called Contraptions, and it's basically they're basically kind of updating some stuff to do with the settlement building. There's going to be some interesting add-ons to that. It looks cool, so I'll be sure to check that out. The one after that in July is basically combining Fallout Shelter with Fallout 4, so you can build your own vault. Looks really cool actually. I'll be sure to check that out as well. May even do some kind of videos on this as well. Who knows? But yeah, that looks really, really cool, I think. And the final one is the one I'm most excited about, which is coming out in August, which is it's basically similar to Far Harbour in that it goes to a kind of new place, and it's probably about the same size and length, and you go to Nuka World, which is basically, imagine Disney World was actually Coca-Cola World, but a lot more ridiculous, and yeah, it should be awesome. I think I'm really, really excited about that. That looks super cool. I cannot wait to jump into that and see how just the kind of crazy stuff they do, because to me it looks like Far Harbour was the kind of serious one, and it was the kind of dark and gritty one, but this one looks like it's going to be the kind of crazy one, kind of similar in the way that Fallout New Vegas was to Fallout 3 perhaps, although they were 2 different studios, but you kind of get my meaning. I think it looks really good. I'm hoping it's going to be really good. I would imagine that would be the last of the DLC for that game, but you never know. There could be something else. But yeah, it looks pretty cool. So very excited about that. They announced Prey as well, which I never played the first game. They're doing kind of a reboot of the original Prey, but I'm always excited for any games from Bethesda, so I'll be checking that out for sure. And also Dishonored 2 they showed off as well. I really liked Dishonored 1. I loved the aesthetics of the game, and this one looks stunningly beautiful, just incredible. So hopefully it plays as well as the first one, which was a lot of fun. Hopefully they've addressed some of the issues from the first one though, such as the fact that you couldn't really do anything other than stealth without people being angry with you, which for a game which kind of praised its kind of alternate ways to play the game, wasn't great. But the second one looks really good. You get kind of 2 different characters you can choose, so it looks like there's going to be a bit of replayability to it. And yeah, just really looking forward to that one. Should be really good. I think that comes out it's the 11th of November. Skyrim came out on the 11th of November 2011, so they seem to like that date in particular. So that kind of concludes the Bethesda conference. As I say, nothing outstanding, but certainly a lot of just really good solid stuff there. It wasn't as kind of crazy as last year when they announced Fallout 4 and it was kind of coming out in a couple of months. That was just mental. But it was kind of good solid, and lots of things to look forward to from them as well, so that's really cool. My hunch is next year they're going to announce Elder Scrolls 6, but I think sell, and it's just going to be crazy. I kind of hope they do like they did with Fallout 4 in a way, where they kind of didn't say anything until a few months beforehand, and then we're like, yep, this is coming, because then you didn't have the kind of years of hype and people building it up to be something it isn't. But we'll see. Anyway, now we're going to move on to the Sony press conference. I thought this one was fantastic. It blew me away, the announcements they kind of made in this. There's loads. Yeah, I'm not a hater of Microsoft in any way. I had an Xbox 360 and loved it. It was fantastic, and I like a lot of stuff they do. But I really have felt like the PlayStation, in terms of announcements, was much stronger. In terms of how the games actually finish up when they're released, we'll see. But they kind of really blew it away with the announcements. They had like a full orchestra playing the music to each of the trailers as they kind of showed them, which was incredible. They really pulled out the stops. And the amazing thing for me about the conference was that it was like an hour and a quarter long, and about an hour of that was gameplay trailers, or at least trailers I should say, not necessarily gameplay trailers. And there was not a lot of actual talking from people at all. In fact, I think the longest they actually spoke about anything was the tribute to the Orlando shootings, which was quite a nice touch. So what did they announce? Well, God of War is coming to PlayStation 4. That actually rhymed, didn't it? That's weird, but yeah, PlayStation 4 is getting God of War. It looks to be like a reboot, I think. It's a third-person action game. It looked pretty cool. Weirdly enough, it actually reminded me a lot of The Witcher 3, but we'll see anyway. I wasn't too attached to the original God of War franchise. I played it a bit, but not very much. But if they do some cool things with this, then that'd be awesome. There had been a lot of rumours that they were going to be releasing this this year, so we'll see. But it certainly kind of blew a few people away, that's for sure. Next up was a new IP called Days Gone. I think it was originally called Dead Don't Ride, and imagine that there's a cross between Sons of Anarchy and The Walking Dead, and that kind of seems to be what this game is. That sounds incredible. They did show like a gameplay trailer, and for me personally it didn't seem to do anything new, but I'm looking forward to seeing what the game is when it comes out, how it works. It kind of looks to be quite open worldy, and there were a heck of a lot of zombies coming at the guy, like more than kind of up there with like a Dead Rising sort of thing, but actually all coming for him, like all running after him, so it kind of looked a bit terrifying, but it could be good. I would imagine it's just going to be like a single player game, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. They didn't release too many details of it. They did show a guy actually playing the game, so it's interesting, and we'll see when it gets released how good it is. Next up was The Last Guardian. Now, that was shown off last year and caused like a massive splash, because this game has been in development for years, and they actually gave it a release date, which is let me just check on this, it's October the 25th, which is amazing. A lot of people never thought they would see this game come out. Personally, for me, I'm not too excited about it. It doesn't look like it's going to be my sort of game, but we'll see. If it gets reviewed well, I will probably pick it up. But we'll have to kind of wait and see how well it does. Horizon Zero Dawn was shown off again. this game just looks better and better every time I see it. It's kind of set in a primitive world where it looks like there's been some sort of apocalypse, and the humans have kind of been sent back to the Stone Age almost, but there's like mech dinosaurs running around, which it looks really intriguing. It's a fantastic concept, it looks amazing. It looks like a lot of fun to play as well. There's lots of different interesting things you can do. So I'm looking forward to that. Should be really good. I think that got pushed back, yeah it did, to February next year, but that's not too far away. I must admit, before this conference I was considering selling my PlayStation 4 because I just don't really play anything on it anymore, but I think that would be a bit foolish now because there's at least 5 or 6 games which I'm quite excited about playing, so we'll see how that goes. Now it could be that a lot of them, and actually a lot of them, unlike perhaps the Microsoft ones where I think a lot of them will come out on PC, I don't think these games will come out on PC, so I don't think The Last Guardian will, Days Gone won't, God of War won't, and perhaps a few others which I'll talk about later won't either, so I think it would be a bit foolish to sell my PlayStation 4 now. Another game which I'm actually a lot more excited for, having seen the trailer than I was originally, is Detroit Becomes Human. This is a David Cage game. He made Beyond Two Souls and Heavy Rain, games which didn't really resonate with me hugely, although I know a lot of people love them. But this one looked really cool. It's kind of set in the future with like androids, and yeah, it looks really cool actually. It looked very, very interesting. Kind of like a choice-based system where you kind of lots of different things take place depending upon your actions and what you say and stuff like that. It's kind of like a good Telltale game. Could be pretty awesome if they combine it with other things as well. So really looking forward to that. That looked really good actually, but we'll see how it comes out, because I think from a lot of people's minds Heavy Rain was a masterpiece, but Beyond Two Souls didn't really live up to that, so it'll be interesting to see if they kind of get back up to that level, or if they kind of keep declining basically. But hopefully it will be good. Resident Evil 7 was announced as well. I believe this was in VR as well, although I think that I'm just trying to see here, but yeah, I don't know if it was VR or not actually. I'm not a huge Resident Evil fan, but I know a lot of people are very excited about this. It looked pretty cool, to be fair. It looked like it was getting back to its roots of being a horror game rather than a action shooter game. So we'll have to kind of wait and see on that one. As I say, I'm not hugely excited by it. I don't generally like horror games as much. I'm not really into that genre, but I know a lot of people are excited about it. And we'll see if it does something interesting, then I'll probably check it out. One of the games which I thought looked really cool, but I could imagine would be might not be quite so good, was the Battlefront VR X-Wing mission. It looked incredible. To kind of fly around in an X-Wing in VR. It's kind of everything we always wished for, isn't it, really? Apart from actually being able to fly an actual X-Wing. But whether or not it turns out to be good or not, we'll see. But it looks like a pretty good reason to pick up Sony's VR, as well as they're doing a VR Batman game, which I have no idea how that's going to turn out. It was only like the briefest of teaser trailers, so that will be interesting, I'm sure, when that comes out, how that actually plays and stuff. The game which surprised me most at the entire conference was Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. This game for me was right off the radar. The first trailer got panned this trailer was incredible for Call of Duty. Like, it looked amazing. They kind of started off in a kind of like a single seat kind of fighter spaceship, and after kind of flying around, you know, doing some dogfighting, they then kind of ejected. It went to like a zero gravity thing. They then broke into this massive, huge spaceship. Then it went back to normal gravity when they activated the gravity, and then they kind of had to shoot their way out and you know, self-destruct the ship, get into another kind of fighter aircraft, and fly off again. And like, if all of that is kind of not 100% scripted, then that could be incredible. I have my doubts because it's a Call of Duty game, but if there's kind of like a bit more free flow to that, then, you know, just kind of like a very linear, straight path, then that could be amazing. But even if it isn't, it still looks like it's going to be a hell of a game. Of course, that's just one snippet in a trailer. We don't know, but you know, it is on my radar now, whereas before it wasn't at all. So that, I think, is an example of what a good trailer can do for a game. I think a lot of people were very surprised at how good that looked on there. And of course, you've got the Modern Warfare remaster, which is coming with it. I don't really care about that, if that makes sense. I know that game is beloved by so many people, but I don't really feel like it was necessary to do a remaster of it. I'd rather, I think if they'd have done a remaster of one of their World War II ones, then they would have perhaps covered both angles a little bit better. But, you know, we'll see. It was a really good game, Modern Warfare, so to kind of jump back into it again and play through it would be good. But yeah, I kind of feel it's a bit like Skyrim in a way, which is kind of like, yeah, you know, I'll probably play it, but do I really need it? You know, not really. Next up was Crash Bandicoot remastered, so they're going to redo Crash Bandicoot 1, 2 and 3, which is kind of cool. A lot of people have been wanting this for a long time. I always enjoyed the first Crash Bandicoot games, they were a lot of fun. And yeah, I should say it's probably about time that they're doing something with that character, because he is kind of like a Sony icon. You know, he is Sony's Sonic almost, or they're Mario, and they've kind of neglected him recently, so that'll be pretty cool, I think. I'm sure they'll do a good job kind of redoing it as well, so that's pretty cool. They showed a bit more of Lego Star Wars The Force Awakens, and there's actually a demo out as well, which you can jump in. I downloaded it and played it for a bit. It was fun, but it didn't really grab me. It's just a Lego game at the end of the day. I'm in two minds to whether or not I'll play that. It was quite interesting. There were some fairly varied mechanics going on, but you know, it had some good humour to it, which the Lego games always do, which is kind of one of the selling points. Although I have to admit, I preferred it when they were silent to when they added voices to it, because for me there was this kind of like a throwback to the kind of silent movies era, that kind of slapstick stuff, kind of like you saw in the original Star Wars trilogy and stuff like that, which they lost a little bit when they moved away and were using kind of voices from the movies and stuff, which they did. So yeah, that looks good, but I played it a bit and I wasn't too kind of amazed with it. You got to fly the Millennium Falcon in the demo, so that's got to be good, right? The next thing they did, well, not really the next thing, but the next thing I'm going to talk about is Spider-Man. So this was a bit of a shock. They're doing Spider-Man is being made by the Insomniac studio, who are responsible for, I believe they did the, what's it called? It's completely blanked from my mind now. actually own it as well. I was trying to see if I could see it, but I can't. It's completely blanked. I keep thinking Injustice, but it isn't Injustice, is it? It's the third person one where you kind of have almost like superhero abilities. Really cool game, and the fact that they're doing a Spider-Man game is awesome, because I really loved the original Spider-Man games you got on like PlayStation 2. It was so much fun to just swing around New York, even if it didn't make much sense, because you're kind of you were swinging off nothing. But you know, it's a game, so you're allowed to. But yeah, that was really, really cool, and it's awesome that they're kind of doing something with that kind of Marvel license that isn't a Lego game. As much as I do like the Lego games, it's nice to do something else. I did think that the trailer looked a bit too good to be true, if that makes sense. That the final game will probably look nothing like that, but we'll see. We'll see. The final kind of game was the most striking for me, even though I know I'm not going to see this game till probably 2019 at best, and that was Stranding. This is the new game by Guillermo del Toro. No, it's not. It's Hideo Kojima. It may have Guillermo del Toro in it. It's Hideo Kojima. And also it's got Norman Reedus in it from The Walking Dead. They're all good friends, all three of them. Hideo Kojima created the Metal Gear series. Metal Gear Solid 5 was a masterpiece. In fact, a lot of the Metal Gear games were masterpieces, to be fair, but number 5 is the most recent one, and his attention to detail is just legendary in those games, and I'm super excited to see what he does now. He's kind of out on his own with his own studio, with kind of Sony's money to kind of back him up. I don't think we're going to see anything until a long time, because he's literally only just started on it. I would imagine they haven't even started to code anything or do anything like that. But it's exciting anyway. The trailer itself was weird, to say the least. It was the most striking trailer I saw at the entire E3, because I've just got no idea what was going on in it. If anybody, the one thing about Hideo Kojima is he knows how to do a trailer. Before Metal Gear Solid 5, I wasn't really that hyped for it. It just kind of looked, I don't know really, but it didn't look like something that really excited me. When I watched the trailer from the E3 that year that it came out, it blew me away. Like the way he pieces things together, the way he uses music in his trailers, like he is genius. And you know, he kind of did it again with this one, and you know, it's probably the one game that everyone's going to be talking about coming away from E3. You know, and you won't see it for years. Now, whether or not that's a good thing, I don't know, because there's going to be so much hype around that game. It will be unreal, and you know, I don't know if he can live up to that sort of level of hype, or you know, because Metal Gear Solid 5 was, you know, a long way down in the series, and it was a fantastic game, but it already had its kind of key audience, and I kind of felt like this game being something so new, even though it's obviously got his name attached to it, which carries a lot of weight, it's just going to be fascinating to see what this game actually is, how it plays, what you do. I would advise you to watch the trailer. I'm not even going to begin to try and explain it. There will be so many theories about what's going on in it, and probably every single one of them will be wrong. Hideo Kojima just has this amazing, incredible ability to, like, just tell a story. I saw someone comment actually and say that something very bad must have happened to him when he was younger, because the things he comes out with, like, visual kind of media he produces are just like crazy, you know, and usually in a good way. So you kind of wonder what is actually on the cutting room floor sometimes. But yeah, that was probably the most striking trailer I saw from E3. Now, obviously there are games coming out sooner which I'm, you know, kind of more excited for, but that one will definitely stay on my radar for a long time to come, I think, because I'll be a lot older when it actually comes out, I'm sure. So that's pretty much it, really. If I look through here and just see any kind of other noticeable games which I'm super excited for, probably the only other one would be Mass Effect Andromeda from EA. I'm a massive fan of what they do in the Mass Effect series. I loved all 3 games, and for another one to come out is great. I hope it's good. I really, really hope it's good. I was wondering how it's going to be without Commander Shepard and such, but we'll see anyway. It was always about the story and characters for me in Mass Effect, and if they get that right, then it'll be a good game. But yeah, that kind of concludes this little ramble about E3. As I said before, I would like to do something like this maybe once a month. You know, no kind of visual stuff, just talking and, you know, about stuff. And if people want to comment and things like that on it, then you're more than welcome to. And if you've got any ideas for stuff, then I'm all ears, as they say. So thank you very much again for listening, and I will catch you